For many centuries, people asked what the secret of Stradivari violin was, and many hypotheses have been proposed to explain how the 17th century master luthier from Cremona achieved his unbeatable sound. If you drive to the Val di Fiemme in the Dolomite region, you might find the most reliable answer. The hidden quality of his finest instruments lies in their harmonic wood, which was and is still sourced from the spruce trees of Paneveggio in the so-called violin forest. The story of Paulo Fazioli, the Stradivari of our time, starts here too, as in the early 1980s he relocated to the area from his native Rome to start his new entrepreneurial venture and pursue his dream to manufacture pianos. His quest for the perfect sound led him to Friuli Venezia Giulia, in the city of Sacile, halfway between the forests of Val di Fiemme and Tarvisio, the only home of the one-of-a-kind Abete di Risonanza, a knot-free high-elevation spruce endowed with pronounced harmonic qualities. As for Stradivari in the 17th century, it is this premium wood, now supplied by the local company Ciresa, that constitutes the hidden core of Fazioli's success, granting his instruments a unique liveliness and the enchantment of time. Even though the Fazioli sound springs from the silent harmony of the violin forest, its deep roots grow in the founder's Roman soil and the Italian musical milieu, from which the pianoforte emerged and was created in the 18th century. Fazioli was born in 1944 in Forte Bravetta, not far from where Father Giuseppe Morosini was killed during the Nazi occupation of Rome. You might recall him from Rossellini's movie Rome Open City. Paolo, the youngest of 6 children, lost his mother when he was 10, and on the advice of his older brother's wife, started taking piano lessons to overcome his grief. As he played the vertical piano of his teacher's house, he fell in love with it, despite what he later called its horrible sound, and managed to convince his father to make him one to practice on by cutting a wood sheet and drawing a keyboard on it. That was his first piano. That was the start of a passion which would lead him to a piano degree from the Conservatory of Pesaro under the guidance of Sergio Cafaro, another student of Ennio Morricone's maestro Goffredo Petrassi. Paolo's father, who owned a furniture business, also introduced him to his other passion for mechanics, which would lead him to a degree in engineering with a thesis on light and acoustics in building materials. While juggling arts and mechanics, Paolo always saw the piano as a complex bridge of disciplines and a sophisticated synthesis of skills. As he performed and dreamed of assembling his own instrument, what he pursued was simply the perfection of sound, or rather, a living sound, as the outcome of quality, design, craft, and patience. One needs trust, a whole lot of trust, to produce this kind of perfection, not through standardized forms, but rather as a personal and lifelong conquest. While Fazioli's company starts from his daring quest for the perfect piano, his pursuit finds its ultimate roots in the late 17th century, when a contemporary of Stradivari, the Padua-born Bartolomeo Cristofori, first developed the pianoforte in Florence. In designing a new instrument for Ferdinando de' Medici in 1709, Cristofori replaced the harpsichord's plucking mechanism with individual hammers striking the strings, and introduced an escapement system which paired each string with a damper and allowed the hammer to back away from the string as the key was released. His new instrument, which he first called gravicembalo col piano e forte, introduced volume to keyboards, offering a new range from piano to forte. His pianoforte, as the instrument would come to be called, gradually emerged throughout the 18th century until Christmas Eve of 1781, when a particular event skyrocketed its popularity in European courts. As Austrian Emperor Joseph II challenged the Roman pianist Mozart-Clementi and 25-year-old prodigy Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart to a piano contest at his royal palace. The duel, which officially ended in a draw, even though the emperor sympathized for his local hero, ratified both the musician's fame and the legitimacy of the new instrument. Mozart nobilitated the piano by writing numerous concertos for it. Clementi traveled to London later in life and there began assembling and selling pianos. Clementi's mix of artistry and mechanics and his travels from Rome to the north certainly prefigured Fazioli's journey through music and entrepreneurship. As Paolo completed his degrees in engineering and music, his quest for the perfect sound led him to refashion his family's furniture business into something new. He assembled a team of builders and experts, like the sound physics professor Pietro Regini or the wood technician Guglielmo Giordano, and dreamed of an instrument which could overcome serialization through organic design, empowering each individual performer through a unique personality. Rejecting the 19th century idea of the vertical piano as a common furniture item in bourgeois households and a serialized instrument of musical education as it was designed by Northern European brands, he thought of the gran piano as a stylized object, more like a yacht than a piece of furniture, and most importantly, as a voice, mimicking the roundedness and fullness of Italian bel canto, beautiful singing. 40 years later, his dual attention to mechanical accuracy and personalized design has made his gran coda a recognized jewel in piano manufacturing. After moving from Rome to Friuli, Fazioli designed his first prototype in June 1980, a piano that British performer Margaret Barton tested, appreciated after some initial skepticism, and played in public during a festival organized in Sacile. After the company was established in 1981, its first grand piano, the F278, was sold to the nearby city of Monfalcone, whose music director, the composer Carlo de Incontrera, aspired to transform from a naval port into a thriving cultural center. In subsequent years, de Incontrera would be a key promoter and recruiter for Fazioli, as many important pianists chose its pianos, legitimizing its quality from Europe to the United States. Fazioli initially gained space in the European market thanks to its participation in the Frankfurt Fair and the deliberate sophistication of its stand design as opposed to the standardized language of its competitors. In the American market, the breakthrough moment came in 1987 when Lazar Berman played the longest grand piano ever assembled, the F308, in Carnegie Hall. Commenting on its debut, the New York Times critic Harold Schomburg defined the 10-foot Fazioli as the heavyweight champion of contemporary grand pianos and praised its clear singing treble and plenty of power. Berman simply called it a bel canto piano, inventing a new category. With its powerful bass and 4 pedals, the F308 is still il fiore all'occhiello of the Fazioli collection, the star instrument of most concert halls, from the Teatro La Fenice in Venice to the Palace of the Arts in Budapest, from the Grand Theatre of Beijing to the conservatories of Vienna, Paris, and Salzburg. Most recently, even the Juilliard School of New York acquired a Fazioli, replacing its former piano brand after 80 years. In addition to models of different sizes, the company also acquired visibility for its special models. The elegant walnut Strauss, paying tribute to 19th century design, the Malachite, with its precious intarsia of wood and stones, the Origami Fairmont, commissioned by the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel of Vancouver in honor of origami maestro Joseph Wu, the ebony black and white, the gold-plated Foglia d'Oro, and my absolute favorite, on my ideal wish list, of course, the Marco Polo, a red F308 celebrating the ties of Venice and China, or nearby Sacile and the Chinese origins of the commissioning client, by its reference to the Venetian explorer who opened the Silk Route and the reproduction of a Canaletto painting inside the lid. As the company grew, building a new manufacturing site and concert hall in Sacile, Fazioli established itself as a leading brand in the international market, while maintaining its founder's challenge to prove that the piano is not tied to the fixity of tradition, but rather, like every other work of human ingenuity, it is the object of technical and aesthetic evolution, while staying true to its past. The aura of a Fazioli piano lies in the company's core philosophy: to produce concert pianos exclusively for the professional market, to exclude any process of imitation in the single-minded pursuit of a Fazioli sound, to avoid serialization through pioneering assembling models, and to manufacture instruments individually through scientific research and premium materials. In the words of its mission, Fazioli rejects any industrial productive logic and pursues the goal of an uncompromising quality. In other words, similarly to Ferrari in the supercar category, the 55 employees of Fazioli work on a limited number of items, with the intention of giving customers the most sophisticated attention to sound and performance. It takes about 2 years to complete each piano, and of the 150 pianos that are assembled every year, 95% are sold outside Italy. As in the violin market, where 99% of instruments for learners are produced on a mass scale in China and 1% share of instruments for performers are still produced by master luthiers in Cremona, in the same way, Fazioli excels in the premium niche of high-achieving pianos as long-lasting instruments endowed with personality, offering artists a once-in-a-lifetime performing experience and connecting sound to natural harmony, cultural heritage, and a constantly happening beauty. The story of such instruments is a slow crescendo, as performances, artists, and venues infuse a particular mystique unto them, like the Stradivaris, thus depositing an accumulated value. This continuous crescendo also suggests a model of perfection that does not lie in automated exactitude, but rather comes as a patient process of adjustment, rest, and age, as the ripe fruit of unwavering trust, and as an eternally blossoming flower, renewing its aura and augmenting its brightness with time. As for other products of Italian ingenuity like Parmigiano Reggiano or balsamic vinegar, which might take from 3 to 30 years of maturation, so the creation of a piano's elegant, round, and clean sound has to do with the gradual formation of its inner life. From the 2 years that are required to assemble a unique piece in Sacile to the 40-year path of Fazioli's company, from his initial dream to the enduring excellence of its live performances. Fazioli represents the enchantment of a perfection that does not come from a magic spell, but rather from the patience to play the long game. An attitude which implies attention to detail, wonder, vision, conviction, and a profound faith. From Antonio Stradivari to Paulo Fazioli, from the harmonic forests of Val di Fiemme to the concert halls of the world, pianos embody the ultimate sign of Italian ingenuity, as a complex weaving of mechanics and art, a dynamic site of perennial adjustment, and a platform of real innovation, which is never achieved once and for all, but always needs to happen again, as in a mind-boggling performance. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this presentation, I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel or to the webpage www.italianinnovators.com to receive notifications of new episodes. You can also follow me on my LinkedIn profile or on Instagram at Italian Innovators for additional materials about the show. Thanks again, arrivederci e alla prossima.